All right, welcome back to the Virtue Bowling Supply YouTube channel. My name is Chris and I'm here to bring you guys the high rev perspective.
And my name is Josh and I'll be bringing that low rev perspective.
Today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Motiv Jackal Ghost V2, and I'm going to be comparing that to the Storm Alpha Crux and the 900 Global Viking Conquest.
And I'll be comparing it to the Hammer Zero Mercy Solid and the Brunswick Combat Hybrid. These comparisons will give us and you an idea of what these pieces look like going down the lane. At the end, we will give our honest, unbiased review anywhere from nuts to trash. With that being said, we are here at Mesa East on a fresh house shot, so make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys out on the lanes.
We're through the original Jackal Ghost, so I don't have that comparison for you, but this one feels pretty good. It's definitely in that strong and smooth category, but it actually has a little bit of a quickness to it when it gets to the friction. So it has a little bit more of that like hook set ball reaction. I didn't have it being super continuous just because I wanted to be a little bit earlier. But for the most part, this ball felt really good. I definitely needed a little bit more volume in the middle part of the lane, so I moved a little bit further left. Just because when I got it to the friction too early, it was kind of going to go sideways no matter what. Being a little bit further left made the ball motion look a lot better for me. For most typical house shots, you're definitely going to need a little bit more oil in the front part of the lane to make this ball float enough because it does want to be pretty early. So now I'm going to go ahead and throw the Viking Conquest and see how that compares. To me, this one is definitely a little bit earlier, a lot smoother off the friction as well. I think more ball overall. Honestly, with a little bit of lane shine that this one does have on it, it felt like it got through the front part of the lane a little bit easier, but it definitely wanted to be earlier and a lot more rounded overall than the Jackal Ghost V2. I said earlier, I feel like the Jackal Ghost, when it got to friction, it definitely had a quickness to it. It wasn't just early and smooth, it was definitely early, but it wanted to be a little bit quicker off the friction than most balls kind of in that strong and smooth category. So definitely on a little bit of an angular end of the strong and smooth. So now I'm gonna go ahead and throw the Alpha Crux and see how that compares. All right, to me, the Alpha Crux fits a very similar spot to the Jackal Ghost V2, but I just don't think it's quite as quick to friction. It's definitely early, but I definitely needed to be a little bit closer to the friction, just because when I was sitting in the same spot with the Alpha Crux as the Jackal, it kind of missed the spot. So having a little bit more friction helped this ball shape a little bit more. Overall, I feel like, again, they fit a very similar spot, just not quite as quick as the Jackal Ghost. All right, final thoughts on the Jackal Ghost V2. To me, I feel like ball motion was pretty good, and I think this fits in a pretty good spot for a strong and smooth ball. It's not the earliest shape that you're gonna find, so your higher rev bowlers are gonna find more use out of this than something like super strong like an Ion Max or a Zero Mercy Solid or something with a super strong core and cover. So this one, wanting to get down lane just a little bit more than those, makes it a little bit more useful. Still has a strength and controllability to it that's really useful. If you're super rev dominant, you're not gonna need something this strong, but if you're able to have a little bit more speed and be a little bit closer to match, this ball is gonna be pretty useful. So I like the ball motion, and I think I'm gonna get this, put this in the fire category for sure.
For me, this ball hooks a pretty good amount for a Motiv ball. This is probably the biggest Motiv ball I've thrown so far, and for me, I loved it. I felt like it was for me, I was a little too far right at first, but I always like to start a little right just to kind of give you an idea of all the zones, and this one definitely needed to be a little bit further in, but once I got there, this ball stunned me. I felt like it had a cleanness to it where it was able to get through the fronts, but at the same time, it was still big enough to where like I knew it was gonna hook every time. And again, like those type of bowling balls are typically good because they blend the lane and typically you strike a lot. And for me, once I got into the correct portion of the lane, I felt like I was able to strike for days. So now we're gonna go ahead and throw 5 shots at the Zero Mercy Solid and see how it compares. For me, this ball is definitely a little bit stronger and a little bit more forward of a shape. This, for me, is something I would bowl with a little bit more oil in the fronts, where the Jackal, you could still use that as a big ball, but definitely a little bit more, looking for more back end, essentially, where the Zero, you're trying to keep the ball really more in front of you. We're gonna go ahead and throw 5 shots at the Combat Hybrid and see how it compares. For me, this ball was definitely cleaner than the other two. Felt like it wanted to get down lane a little bit easier and was definitely quicker to friction. I did have to be a little bit softer with the ball speed just because it, it does have some lane shine, but overall I still feel like this is a good step down from the Jackal, when the Jackal becomes a little bit too early and you start to flat 10, high 4-pin kind of deal. Final thoughts on the Jackal Ghost V2. For me, this ball was definitely a bigger ball in that category. It's going to be fitting its way into my league bag and definitely is going to be used a lot, as I see a lot of strikes coming out of this ball. So for me and today, and just kind of seeing the ball go down the lane, I'm going to have to give this ball a fire. Just needed to strike a little bit more to give it a nuts, but for me, it could eventually get to that category. I feel like this ball really blended the lane really well, and for a Motiv ball, I just haven't seen a ball hook that much out of a ball. So a fire for today.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found this video useful, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.